It's an honor and privilege to be here with you today, and we look forward to some great learnings. So make sure you've got your pencil or pen, a notepad, to take some notes because we learn better when we take notes. 30% better retention. So if you don't know me, I'm Joe Szynski, business coach, executive coach, NLP practitioner, certified facilitator, all kinds of stuff. I sit on several boards. And I like to help people. So I've been doing this for 11 years. I've helped over 2,000 people. You can check out my LinkedIn and learn all about me. But I'm not the important one. This is the important person.
Well, thank you, Joe. That's nice. Well, hi everyone. I'm Veronica. I'm the owner and founder of Online Assistant Pro, and I am also on LinkedIn. So look me up, schedule a consultation with me. I have a team of a dozen people, ready experts, VAs to help you run your business. We have, well, Joe said it, a lot of experience combined. Myself, over 10 years experience, assistant executive coaches, executive people and coaches, of course, like Joe, run their business and make sure their processes are running smoothly. So thank you so much for being here today. It's an honor.
Yeah, Veronica's not being, she's got lots of clients in all different categories that I'm aware of because many of my clients are working with her. So thank you. So first of all, let's start off with a little bit of mindset stuff. If your business or your life is not changing the way you want it to, this is the formula for change. I'm an engineer by training, and so I like formulas. If your life or your business is not changing, we look at the formula. D times V times F must be greater than R. So if you're not dissatisfied to some extent of where you are, have a vision of where you want to go, and taking the first steps. If any one of those are zero, the product is zero. And that must be greater than resistance, and everyone is resistant to change. It's Newton's law: a body in motion will stay in motion, a body at rest will stay in rest, unless affected by a greater force. That greater force is your dissatisfaction times vision plus first steps. So if something's not changing, go back and look at this formula. So a little bit about learning. This is some fun. So everyone take yourself off of mute, please. Oh, before we get started, I'm so sorry. I forgot to introduce Sarah. Sarah is our facilitator manager of keeps everything going. Sarah, say hello.
Hi, everyone. Good to meet you.
So Sarah keeps us going with Zoom and all the tools and stuff because that's not what I'm good at. So everybody ready? I want you to look at the following and call out the word. Are you ready? Go.
Red, blue,
Red,
gray,
gray, brown,
Gray,
pink,
brown,
black,
pink,
green,
blue,
purple, yellow,
purple,
red,
yellow,
orange,
orange,
green.
red, orange, green, orange.
Okay, did anyone have a problem with that?
Not so much.
Okay, fantastic. Now, first of all, is anybody colorblind?
No.
No? Okay, good, good. I want you to look at the following and call out the color, not the word, okay?
The color. Okay.
Color, not the word. Are you ready?
Ready.
Go.
Ooh, yellow, green.
Yellow, green, red,
Oh, wow,
blue,
blue.
Hey,
brown.
I can't hear you guys. Come on.
Wow, it's
Black.
Everybody knows their colors. Come on. Are you ready? One
wow.
more time. One more time.
Yes, let's
1,
try it.
2, 3, go.
Yellow,
Yellow, green,
Yellow,
red,
green, red,
brown,
blue,
pink, black,
brown,
red,
pink,
green, blue,
black.
gray, red, purple.
Wow, it is a little
Time out.
bit
What's
more
going on here?
challenging.
Owen, what's going on here, buddy? You guys are looking confused and everything.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's-
so what's happening here is in our brains, our subconscious mind, words are logical. Okay, so they're the right brain. Colors are left. So we're mixing our left brain and our right brain, and it's hard. Do you feel how much energy it took to try to read the colors? It almost sucks the energy out of you. This happens every day when you're switching between modalities. So Roland, when you talked about you have to be the VP of sales and the CEO and all these different modalities that we'll talk about as we move forward, This is what happens in your day-to-day operation. So one of the keys to this is getting in a modality and staying in that. Now, if you read this 5 times, you'll stop seeing the words and you'll only see the colors. Kind of cool, huh?
Mhm.
Okay, when we say or think this, I know that, I know that. My kid does this all the time. I know, Dad, I know, Dad. What happens? Our brain shuts off. There's a chemical reaction in our brain that everything you hear will just start bouncing off because your subconscious mind says, I already know that. I'm going to take input in from everywhere else. So instead of saying or thinking, I know, I want everyone to try this. Take yourselves off mute and say this. 1, 2, 3, go.
Isn't that interesting?
Interesting.
Can you feel your brain change almost? You say, I know.
Huh.
Isn't that
Interesting.
Interesting.
you can feel your brain change. So if you want to learn, start trying to incorporate, isn't that interesting, into your mindset, and we'll be able to learn easier. Kind of fun, huh? Okay, this is about you're taking accountability, responsibility, and ownership of everything that happens in your business and your life. When you take ownership, accountability, and responsibility, it's like having the oar to get you where you want to go. Or blame, it's Jimmy's fault, or excuses. My alarm didn't go off, or denial, which means don't even know I am lying to myself. You might as well stay in bed. So take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for everything that happens in your business and your life, and you'll get results. Otherwise, nothing. Make sense?
Yes.
And by the way, almost everybody falls below the line once in a while. So keep yourself accountable. Get an accountability coach, get a business coach, get something to help you. Even mom might be able to help there.
Even mom.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so building a business is like building a house. Okay, when we start building a house, what do we start with?
The foundation.
That's right. And the foundation has cornerstones. So cornerstone number 1 when start building your business is your time. Okay, and that's what we'll be focusing in on today, because time is your most valuable asset. This is all about leveraging your time, and this is why I wrote the book, BrainShare. Yes, I am promoting my book, available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com. Buy 2. And get the hard copy book so you can take notes. Don't get the even. Oh,
Here's
there we
my
go!
book.
Yay!
Here's
Thank
my
you,
book.
Veronica. Yay! Oh, it's there! Yay! So a lot of the material we'll be covering in the first part of this is in that book. Okay. So time, our most valuable asset. Number 2, ultimate goal. What do you want your business to look like when you exit? Because you can't take the business with you. Now, if it's a legacy business, that's fine. Do you want to build a business that's the Taj Mahal, or do you want a mobile home? I don't care. It's your business, your decision. But if you don't know where you're going, you might just end up there, which is I don't know where. Make sense?
Yes.
Number 3 is consistency in your product or service. Okay, it's your standards. Who makes more hamburgers than anybody in the world?
McDonald's.
Are they the best?
Not really.
No.
Well, why do they make the most?
Because they're consistent.
Consistency.
That's right. They were the first ones to be consistent. Before that, you guys may not remember this, but I do. The old hamburger stands, you never knew what you were going to get. Sometimes the fries were cooked, sometimes they were overcooked, sometimes they were still frozen. McDonald's brought consistency, so you know what you're going to get when you get it, and that's how they became as big as they are. So, is your product or service consistent? If you're a solopreneur, it's pretty easy, but when you start building your team, how do you ensure consistency? That's processes and checklists and other things that we'll be talking about today.
Mhm.
And your fourth cornerstone of the foundation is finance. Okay, revenue, gross profit margin. The most important number you must know is your break even point. How many of you know your break even point? How many of you don't? How many are you not going to raise your hand no matter what? I'm not raising my hand. I'm not. Your break even point is the most important number to know. And then you've got your gross margin. You've got your how many leads do you need this week to hit your numbers? What's your conversion rate? What's your average lifetime value of a customer? What's your average dollar value for a customer on a daily, weekly, monthly, or annual basis? And then what's your margin? These are all numbers you need to know. These are easy if you have one of these. It's a calculator. Okay. So if you get stuck on this or you're not sure, give us a call. This foundation piece, if it's not strong, as you build a business, it will collapse just like any foundation. So I focus a lot on the foundation. Then we get into market positioning and systems and team, and then exit expansion, duplication, where you're going. We're going to cover this at a really, really high level. So market positioning is all about marketing, getting leads. This is your target market. Target market is the most important thing. How many of you can define your target market down to 5 people? Ooh, yay. How many of you can't? How many are not going to raise your hand no matter what? Okay, I see you out there.
You see, like Angela.
Eh. Target market is hard to do. It's easy. Oh, we could do business with everybody. Yeah, but who is the perfect target? Target market is like um, walking out into the sunshine right now. You might get a little sunburn. But if you walk out in that sunshine and you take a magnifying glass and you put a focus on it, you'll catch something on fire. Now, do you want your business to be burning up the competition, or do you want to just get a little sunburn? The tighter it is, the hotter the business. And you can move that around, by the way. It's easy to move the target around, but it's hard to narrow it down. And then your competitive advantage, your SWOT analysis, your strategic marketing plan. In other words, your 10 by 10, you should have 10 marketing strategies at any time moving. And then your tactical marketing plan, what you do on a regular basis in your calendaring system. And this is also where you do your sales training. Okay. How many of you have had sales training? How many of you haven't? How many of you are not going to raise your hand no matter what?
I like that one.
Okay. Veronica always raises her hand down. I'm not telling. I'm not telling. If you haven't had some sales training, half these books on the second shelf there are about sales books, because without sales, you don't have a business. Okay. So if you haven't got some sales training, for transactional sales, I would recommend Question-Based Selling by Thomas Fries, or my video, which Sarah can put in the chat box. Or if you got more of a strategic selling with multiple buying influences, you got strategic selling consultancy. There's a bunch of them out there. Schedule some time with me and we'll talk about that. Then we start putting our systems in place. System, save yourself time, energy, and money. Okay, this is all of your systems, your hiring systems, your firing systems, your marketing systems, your accounting systems, your sales systems. Your systems must be put in place. Our friend Michael Gerber talks about this in E-Myth Revisited. Must read for every business owner. Okay, document your processes, put them in place so you can start systemizing them and then optimize. Excuse me. Do not try to optimize when you're putting your systems in place. You will go crazy. Okay, you'll never get them done. Document what you're doing and then optimize them as you move forward. And we'll be talking about that a little bit as we go forward. Okay, this is all of your systems. Make sense?
Yes.
Are we having fun?
Having fun.
All right. And then we put our team together. You're going to need a different team up here than you do when you get started. Okay, because as you put your systems in place, you're going to need a different structure. So you get the right people in the right seat, the right time, going to the right place. Okay, this is your org charts, your position descriptions, your KPIs, your performance evaluations, your pay scales, your training. Okay. If these aren't in place, give us a call. We'll help you. And then we look at expansion, okay, or exit. This is typically when you move from a profit and loss focus to a valuation focus. How much is my company worth? You do your book slightly different as you start looking at an exit strategy or someone to invest in your company or to franchise or to expand. Okay. And by the way, if there's any questions as we're going through this, the more interactive this is, the more you learn.
Yes, you can
So
put them in the chat.
you can put them in the chat. And if there aren't in the chat, please let me know, Sarah, because I'm focused on this presentation.
Yeah.
Okay. And then as we exit, we look at patents, trademarks, and valuations. And what is our exit strategy? Make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So today we're going to focus on time because it's your most valuable asset. You can make more money, but you cannot make more time. Once today is gone, it's gone forever. You can't get it back. You're done. It's over with. Does everyone agree?
Yes.
It's your most valuable asset, although my wife says it's her ring, but it's time. So
It's you.
as
You're her most valuable asset.
Okay, how many of you are familiar with theory of constraints or the book The Goal? Anybody? How many of you are?
Say it again.
Are
What's the name
the
again?
book the Goal or Theory of Constraints by Goldratt? The Goal, Theory of Constraints. These two books, The Goal.
That we had. Do you want me just to work directly with them, or
can whoever's talking, can you please mute,
Oh.
Mr. Bob?
I got it.
There.
Thank you. This is Theory of Constraints. So what this talks about is, let's talk for a minute that, let's say your business is doing $1 million, okay? But it has the capacity of doing $5 million. This is like the hose of what your business could be doing. Now, there's one thing that is the biggest constraint. It could be marketing, it could be sales, it could be operations, it could be finance, it could be you. But this needs to be defined by you of what the biggest constraint is that's holding back your business. Only the biggest one matters. Everything else is irrelevant, because no matter how much you work on that little stuff, it's not going to open up the hose. This makes sense? The CEO must define what the biggest constraint is and put the energy on addressing that. And then there'll be another one and address that. And your calendar and your time allocations must adjust to that. Make sense?
Makes sense. Can I ask a question? I don't know if you can even answer it here. If you can, Joe,
Sure.
what is your biggest constraint?
My biggest constraint right now in my business is marketing.
Marketing.
No doubt. Yeah, it
Okay.
was operations. I brought on another coach. We opened it up. Now it's marketing. We opened that up. Once it's marketing, it might be sales.
So it just might change. Okay.
It will change. If your constraints are not changing, you're not changing your business.
And there's always a constraint. Makes
And
sense.
there's always a constraint. There's always something that's the biggest one. I had one client go, "Oh, once I fix this, everything will be great." No, there's always another big one. Yeah, go ahead, Veronica. Sorry.
There's another question in the chat, and by someone here, Roland. How does time affect constraint?
So your time is where you need to be allocating the majority of your time or a substantial portion to address the constraint. If you're not putting time to fix that constraint, it's going to stay there. Time is your most valuable asset. If you're not allocating resources, usually time, it could be money, but it's usually time to address that constraint. It won't go away. Constraints don't go away by themselves.
Okay.
Make
Thank
sense?
you.
Roland, is that good?
Yes.
Okay.
thank you.
No, and we'll get into that a little bit more as we continue down this path. So, how many of you have seen Stephen Covey's time management matrix? Okay. How many of you haven't? Not going to raise your hand no matter what? Okay, just want to make sure. So this is in both 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and First Things First. So as you start looking at where you're spending your time, how much of that is in quadrant 1, urgent and important? This is stuff that has to get done. It should typically be about 25 to 35% of your time. Now, where most people don't put the time is you're not urgent but important. This is your planning, your relationship building, maybe your vacation. One client hasn't taken a vacation in 5 years. Well, your brain's probably a little foggy. We need to clear that up. Okay. This should be about 40 to 50% of your time, depending on where your business is. Urgent, not important. This is where a ton of your time, typically 50% of business owners' times go, and it's a hallucination. How can it be urgent if it's not important? It's funny. And then there's urgent, not important, which is Spider Solitaire for Joe. Get rid of it. Or Candy Crush. Get rid of it. Okay. So as you start looking at this, an exercise you could do is plot this out and then plot out where all your activities were for the last 2 days. Rather interesting. Make sense so far?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. So one of the things that we want to look at, sorry here, I was checking my time, making sure we're doing okay here. This is actually a calendar screenshot of one of my clients from about 10 years ago. Now, if your calendar looks like this, with all of this white space, then you have an opportunity to improve your business. White space is not a good thing. Means you're going to do something, but I will guarantee you it's not what you should be doing. How many of you don't have enough to do in your business? How many of you got too much to do? You can't get everything done. That's most of us. But you got white space on your calendar. Your subconscious mind says, I'm not supposed to do anything. No matter what I do, I'm going above and beyond the call of duty. Isn't that
Interesting.
yay? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go at a high level over the calendaring system just so that it paints the foundation before we get into delegation, okay?
Yes.
So first thing we need to do is define what your modalities are in your business, okay? So do you have to be as the salesperson? Do you have to allocate time for sales, for marketing, for operations, for finance, for CEO? This is a typical for a CEO, these modalities, okay? For a manager, it might be these: people management, process management, manage your budget, manage your management, strategy, reporting, admin. It might be some combination of them. It might be something different. You need to define these main categories of modalities that you need to stay in. Because if you switch from sales to CEO mode, you're going to have problems. Or if you're being in a CEO mode when you're supposed to be in sales, you're going to have problems. I had one client that practiced his sales pitch for hours and hours and hours, went down to LA, was making his pitch. There's no way he could have lose because we practiced everything. He called me up. He said he lost the deal. I'm like, what do you mean? What happened? And he goes, well, I don't know. Everything was working just the way you talked about, open-ended question, specific solution. Everything was working. I said, what happened? Well, he asked me if I could do it in LA. And I went, and what did you say? He said, I'm not sure. And I said, you lost the deal right then. He goes, well, yeah, I did. Because now that I think about it, I look at it. I said, that's because you went from sales modality to operations modality. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, if you were in sales modality, what would you have said? He goes, of course we could do that. Let me find out how much it's going to cost. Exactly. But when you went to operations mode, you lost the deal. You cannot be effective in operations modality when you're supposed to be in sales or any of these. Get in your modality and stay there. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So once you define your modalities, define what percentage of time you need to be spending in those modalities to get your business where you want it to go over the next 30, 60, 90, no more than 6 months, because it should be changing. If your business isn't changing every 90 days, you're doing something wrong. Okay. Then it's easy math. 40 hours in a work week, that's how many hours you need to be blocking off to do that modality. This makes sense?
Totally.
Okay. Yeah, Roland, go ahead.
It makes sense other than the fact of how do you determine, I think you call it modality. How do you determine the modality that you're supposed to be focusing on each day?
Well, it may not be each day. Hang with me, and if we don't get that at the end, Sarah, let's drop in the video for the calendaring system. This is in one of our YouTube videos. It goes into much more detail.
I also want to note that it is also in the book, and it goes through, which allows you to actually write in it. So it's covered in the book, which is great. But then, like Joe said, I think it is also covered somewhat in the presentation.
In the video. Yeah, and it actually defines your modalities. And in this tool, if you look at one of these tools, that bottom block, you can write in the tasks specifically that you're doing in that modality, so you can help bundle them together.
Yes.
Okay, and then you create what I call a default calendar or the blueprint for your real calendar. Do not try to migrate from where you are today to this calendar without a transition plan. You'll go nuts. Okay. Then the most important thing, developing your calendar, the optimal calendar, personal time first. Date night with the wife. My first thing I plug in there. Plan your day, review your day. Just those two things, planning your day and reviewing your day, is a 30% personal productivity increase. Lunch, break, lunch. And now you've got big blocks to go into a modality. This makes sense, Roland?
Yes. Yes.
So now you go, okay, let me figure out how many hours I need, and we start blocking off our big blocks. So you can stay in a modality for 45 minutes to an hour and a half and become very efficient. When you're looking at the colors, once you just keep looking at them, you become efficient. You're doing words, you're very efficient. Bouncing back and forth, painful and unproductive. How many times a day do you bounce back between modalities? If you're like most business owners, at least 30 times. Isn't that
interesting?
Yay! Okay, and then you actually start plugging your tasks in and you migrate this. Implementing this system usually takes a couple of months. Okay, this is not something you just flick the switch on. I had a business coach that had been coaching for years, and when she went and implemented the system, it took her 6 months. It's a different way of thinking. Okay, you've been running your calendar this way for at least 5, 6 or more years. A month is not going to make a difference. It's evolution, not revolution. This is someone's actual calendar. Look at all that white space. Ooh, it gives me I know they're not going to be doing what they're supposed to. This is their calendar after implementing the system. And it was funny because this client actually had a couch in her office because she was sleeping there at least 2 times a week. Her business had been flat for over 3 years, not months, years, flat 3 years. And she's in her office all the time, sleeping there. Implemented the system. Here's what's cool. She's going home every night by 6 p.m. She's working out because that was one of her goals. And her business was growing at 30%. Isn't that
interesting?
Doing what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it makes a huge difference. Okay, now we got our calendar system together. We got things going. Now, why do we want to delegate? Veronica, why do we want to delegate?
Very good question. Well, there's great benefits to it. For one, it increases productivity. It helps you grow your business faster and more reliably. It helps you focus on the activities that matter most, and it helps you utilize your services more or your resources more effectively. And I think that a lot of people hesitate to delegate for a couple different reasons, right? So I'd like to take this opportunity to like run a poll and ask you guys, what scares you most about delegating? So if you be so kind to pick an answer and just let us know what scares you most.
And as they're doing this is the I'm a superhero. This is that adrenaline rush you get when you come in and save the day. I'm Superman. A lot of CEOs get that rush and they won't admit it.
Or sometimes like some of us, I think because at some point even I can say we tend to think I can teach myself, I don't need to pay someone, I'll just teach myself to do it, when it's something you could just be delegating and you can spend your time on something that will provide better results for your business, right? Or help you grow your business faster. So, okay, we've got a couple of answers.
Okay, please jump in there and do the poll. 20 seconds. Ding, 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 ding.
Let's give it a few seconds. Okay. That's good. That's good. So I think if you notice, Joe, most people think it won't be done right. I think that's one of the main concerns for most business owners. They're scared that it won't be done the right way. And of course, right, we get it. Our business is our baby. It's like we want it to be taken care of the right way. So definitely, it's something that does affect most of business owners. And however, like we said, most of us are spending time maybe on tasks that could definitely be done by someone else, maybe even someone who has better skills than us, right? If we just give them that opportunity. But if when you delegate and you do it right, which we're gonna get into, then the process just works perfect. It works fine. It's going to help you and your business grow. I do want to take another poll, and that has to do with how many hours a day do you think you're spending on tasks that you think or that you could be delegating to someone else. So how many hours a day?
Oh, interesting.
Interesting. Yes, interesting. Yes, very much. Thank you. We'll give it 5 seconds. Okay, good. So I see here, well, we've got a couple of answers and they're pretty equal, but at least there's being maybe 2 hours at least being spent, right, on tasks that could be delegated. So I want to show you something very interesting on the next slide, which is this survey that was done for 500 business owners in the US. And if you notice here, 23% of them are spending 5 hours or more on tasks that could be delegated. And here are some examples of tasks that you can see here. There's 36% of them 3 to 4 hours. But Joe's good at math. So Joe, tell us about how many are spending their time on
59, almost 60% of business owners are spending almost half their time doing tasks that could be delegated out. Isn't that interesting? So when I see these numbers,
yeah, true. You can't delegate the seminar. Angela just commented on in the chat, and her comment is, "I can't delegate this seminar to someone else. I need to be here to learn." So,
you, that's right. You can't delegate everything. And we're going to get into
exactly.
what you can delegate here in a
Exactly.
minute.
Exactly.
But
It is true. You can't delegate everything. So let's get into that. What can you delegate? What makes sense, right? And we're going to do the skills fund matrix. And so this is Joe's example we're going to use because everybody is so different. Everyone has a different skill set. And also some things and tasks are fun for someone, they might not be as fun for someone else, right? So if you need a copy of the skills fund matrix, we can email it to you. So let us know, put it in the chat, and then Sarah will make a note of that and send you a copy of the skills fund matrix. So Joe, let's run with
okay,
with
so
it.
so one of the keys to this is you have to have your calendaring system in place so you actually know what you're doing. So you can go back and evaluate, where did I spend my time? So once your calendaring system's in place, then you go back and evaluate the last couple of weeks. And for me, one of the first things I outsourced was my bookkeeping, because that's not fun for me. It doesn't require my skills. I have somebody else do that. I spent 8 hours trying to find 10 cents because my engineer's brain says there can't be 10 cents missing. It was stupid. Next, video editing. I spent 4 hours trying to video edit something, and you know what? I'm not good at it. It doesn't require my skill, and it's not any fun for me. Sarah now does all my video editing, or a lot of it. Answering the phones. Next thing, how much time do you spend playing telephone tag? I've got an answering service. Don't do that. Data entry, no way. Blogs. Now, it is a little fun for me to help develop the content, but does it really require my skills? No, I can develop the content. I don't need to post the blogs. Graphics design, no way. I can't even draw a straight line with a T-square. So I don't even try to. No, it's not something I want. Newsletters. I take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for what goes out, but I don't put it all together. That's not what I do. That's not what I'm good at. Social media, no. Website design, no way. I tried that once. Content creation, no. I'm responsible for it. I want to review it, but no. Networking events, I'm still doing that because it's fun for me, but at some space and time, I need to outsource that, or I need to delegate that to someone else. Managing your schedule, your email management, customer support. These are all things that could be delegated out. Customer escalations. Now, that one I'm probably going to keep for a while because that's emotional to me. Payroll, I don't know about payroll being my skills. I think we just needed to put something in that box. So, video creation. I like doing video creation. You see my YouTube channel, I have a blast doing videos. Managing metrics, that requires my skill. It's not a lot of fun, but I have to do it. Coaching, I love coaching my clients, making them get them to the next level, creating a business that works without you. Video meetings, doing videos, leadership. That what we do is we start at the bottom left and you move your way up, and this is how you decide what should get delegated. Now, once you've decided what to get delegated, how do you delegate?
Right. And it's important to know that like we said, a lot of these things, once you have it in place, what you need to do first is figure out what are these things, right? Joe, these are Joe's stuff, and maybe it applies to you a little bit differently. I would start writing every day. I know it's going to be a little bit of a reminder to yourself to start writing down what you're doing throughout the day. That way, by the end of the week, you'll have a whole list of things that you've done. And then you can go in and plug them in the matrix. And then you can start to decide who in your team can do this, or if you want to use a virtual assistant to help you do this, right? So that's where we come in, of course. And we're going to talk about the steps on how to delegate effectively. And first would be document the process. So right now with technology, it's so much easier to document. Some people have a manual of operations or step-by-step guides that are written or typed up. That's perfect. I mean, before we used to do that more. Now we're using videos. It's much more easy for you to get on your computer. There are softwares kind of like Snagit. There's Screenplay, there's ScreenFlow, many other kind of video software that you can just get on your computer and record what you're doing. And you can even speak as you're going. Give that to your VA, give that to your team member, and have them review it and documented, right? That's the documenting itself. And then we can go into the next step would be providing the training. Providing the training has to do with you answering the questions. You actually have to sit down and watch them do it. And then you might be surprised to know that there are some gaps in the learning, and you have to make sure to offer recommendations, give feedback, answer the questions, and make sure that they're understanding how you want it done, right? And so then comes the next step.
Hang on, Veronica,
Go
I'm going
ahead,
to jump in.
go ahead, Joe.
Because when you're doing this, if you don't have a documented process, this could be a time to document them. Okay.
Yes.
As you're doing the training, you say, okay, I want you to write up the process. I want you to create the checklist. You get two birds with one stone.
Exactly, right. Then we validate the process, right? So once it's done, you always want to provide feedback. You want to make sure it's being done the way you want it to be done. And of course, as you go, the process is going to be refined, right? Because it happens, right? In a perfect world, everything would be done perfectly. But when you offer suggestions and feedback, it's actually good for your VA. It's actually good for your team member to know exactly to point out what needs to be refined, right? And also be open to their recommendations, because your VA may have a certain skill set that you probably don't know of or don't have yourself, and they might have better suggestions as to how to better that process. So, and then comes the next step, which is checking in. Having weekly meetings is definitely very helpful for everyone. Just checking in, make them accountable for what should be done throughout the week, and also it helps with answering any questions that come up. And then if
And
you want
as
to
you
go ahead.
and as you modify the process, or the process gets modified, this is where you validate it or start optimizing it with the check-ins.
Absolutely. And then you want to manage your KPIs. That's the next step, right? And Joe, I know you love talking about KPIs, so maybe explain to us how this can be done.
Well, everybody has a number. If you haven't read Attraction by Gino Wickman, everybody has a number, whether you're delegating out, whatever you're delegating out. Let's say you're delegating out marketing, then the KPI must be leads. It must be appointments set. It must be people walking in the door if you've got brick and mortar. If it's your accounting that you're outsourcing, my accounting reports must be accurate and on my desk by the 15th of every month. Okay, if my answering the phones, everything has a KPI.
Exactly.
Key performance indicator. Sorry,
Key
a metric.
performance. The metrics. Okay, let's move on. And so now you're ready to start delegating. And if you need a copy of this video, or if you need a copy, of all of this, let us know. We're happy to provide it to you. And like I mentioned at the beginning, I am the founder and owner of Online Assistant Pro. We're a team of virtual assistants, and that we have experts in there. We have graphic designers, we have website developers, we have executive assistants. We do all sorts of things. If you don't see it listed here, ask me. Most likely we have an expert in the team. We have, like Joe said, just maybe over 25 years combined experience. I myself have been in the VA world for over 10 years. Actually, Joe was my first client. and we, and one of the things is, once you are onboarded to our team as our client, we are just part of your family, because we care for your business as much as you do. And you'll see it with working with our team. So if you have questions, please, there is a QR code. You can actually just scan it and schedule a consultation with me.
Everybody pull up your phones and scan it. And while you're doing that, I've been working with Veronica and her team for 10 years. I think I've got 2 or 3 or 4, I don't even know how many VAs assigned to different projects that we do. I focus on what I do best, which is helping my clients. The other things, I don't do them. I delegate them out. And that's how the business becomes successful and starts working without you. If you're trying to do everything to everybody all the time, you're going to have challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the first thing you're going to delegate out? Oh, I like that look, Roland. I got to go do some analysis. I got to do my skills fund matrix.
Oh man, my mind is racing. So
well, and this is, you take some time.
I gotta get the book first, and then figure out, then read the book. Then I can figure out how to even go forward.
Well, and it's one step at a time, one bite at a time. You can't change everything all at the same time, so take your time. I remember one of the workshops I went to with a very successful entrepreneur, and he said, "What's your secret? If you have to give one piece of advice, what is it?" And he said, "Be the turtle, not the hare."
Mm. Yeah. Wow.
Take it nice and slow. So it's an honor and privilege to work with Veronica and her team. Somebody says, "Well, what about confidentiality and everything else?" I have.
Good. Yes, NDAs. We sign NDAs. All of our VAs, we sign NDAs. We work with a lot of confidential information. I can actually explain more in the consultation. All of our passwords are encrypted. We use very secure software to make sure all of the information is stored securely. And yes, everybody does sign an NDA. We do actually run background checks on our VAs, and so you can be, rest assured your information will stay safe with us. Yes.
Yeah, they've got access to my credit card, my bank accounts. I don't even think about that because I've got to trust them because they're part of the team. They are, the majority of my team. So with that, get your appointment set up with Veronica or time to decide what or have a dialogue with Veronica. What makes sense to outsource first? What's your biggest constraint? That's where you should be focused. What's your skills fund matrix? What's your time wasters? And then get it going. And if your business is not changing the way you want it to, what is your dissatisfaction level, your vision? Are you taking the first steps? The first step you need to take today, right now, is pull out your phone, put it up there, and schedule an appointment. That's taking the first step. We'll talk about your business, where it is, where you want it to go, and how to get you there in the most expedient manner. Okay, we got 7 minutes left. I'm looking for some questions.
Yeah, you've mentioned several books in this webinar, and I just wanted to see, can you go over the titles of those books again? I'm looking for them.
Absolutely. Today, and by the way, I've got over 100 books that I read. Today I mentioned E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, the foundation of a lot of businesses. Why small businesses don't work and what to do about it. This talks about documenting your processes. Okay, I must read. But the most important book, no, is BrainShare by Mr. Joe Szynski, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Get the paper copy, not the electronic version. I also mentioned...
There was one more, yes.
Yeah, I also mentioned The Goal. Okay, this is in a story format. This is about your constraints in your business. This is also available. I had one client that got it in a graphic novel. It was a comic book. So it is available in different formats. If you don't like stories and you want the technical aspect of it, here's the textbook from the quality system, Theory of Constraints.
No,
I don't recommend this unless you are an engineer and like lots of formulas. I also did mention Traction by Gino Wickman.
Who wrote the Goal?
Gold Rat.
Gold Rat?
Gold Rat. Gold as in money and rat as in with 2 T's. Elijah
Okay.
Goldrat.
I can't find it.
Elijah Goldrat. We'll find
Elijah
it for
Oh,
you.
Goldrat.
Elijah Goldrat. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Elijah Goldrat, The Goal, one of the best operations management books there are. And this is one of the best overall business books on the planet. Traction by Gino Wickman. Make sure it's by Gino Wickman. There's 3 or 4 other traction books that are not this
Traction
one.
by Gino Wickman. You found it.
And of course, you got brainSHARE, right? I'm going to do that one again. That's number 4 of promoting my.
That's a must.
There were several on Goodread. I mean, every time, whenever I get a recommendation on a book, I put it in my Goodread account right away as I want to read.
Okay, if you look at my Goodread account, you'll see all of these books in there, plus about at least 100, 150 more.
I can see your Goodread account. How does
Yes.
that?
I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm in Goodread. You can go look at. You can link up with me on Goodreads.
Oh, I can link with you on Goodread. I didn't know that either.
Yes. And if you send me an email, I'll send you the top 100 books every entrepreneur should read. I'm more than happy to do that.
Oh my God, that takes 2 lifetimes.
Audio books or there's a service called Get Abstract. I highly recommend. It's a 10-minute read summary of many of the books, and then you decide whether you want to do a deep dive on them or not. I'm a scuba diver, so deep dive is a technical term.
It's called Good Abstract.
Get GETABSTACT. Get Abstract.
Okay.
We could send that out to you in an email on a follow-up for this.
Yes, please.
Sarah, can we do that?
Yes, of course we can. My voice doesn't sound like that, does it?
Absolutely. Okay. Awesome.
Okay,
Well,
any
thank
other
you.
questions? I want to express my appreciation to each and every one of you for investing your time with us today, because time is our most valuable asset.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for your time. Veronica?
Thank you, Joe. Thank you,
for all your
Sarah.
information.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
everybody.
My honor and privilege. Be safe, stay positive, test negative.
Thank you.
I like
Thank
that.
you, Joe.
Bye.
We'll reach out to you.
Sounds great. You guys have
Have
an
a good one.
awesome
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me stop the recording.